As gardeners, we focus on what's above the ground, the leaves, the stem, flowers and fruit, because that's what we see all the time. They're turning sunlight into energy, making oxygen and providing us with food. But below the ground, the roots are anchoring the tree and they're drawing up water and essential nutrients. So what's supporting and feeding your plants so they can do all this? Well, your soil. Soil is a mix of organic matter, mineral particles, air, water and living organisms. It's a vital part of gardening, and the more you can learn about your soil, the better you'll be. And one way of doing this is a soil texture test. Now to do this, you're going to need some pretty high-tech equipment. Something to dig with, a shovel and some containers. Pick a few spots around your garden. This will give you a better picture of your soil type. And soil can change drastically, even across a garden block. Start by scraping back the mulch. And I like to dig about 4 centimetres deep till you get yourself that topsoil. And then go through it and rip out any old sticks, twigs, or any rocks. You'll need different tools for different places. Sometimes your hand is enough, or maybe a trowel, but occasionally a shovel is what's called for. One more stop on my sampling journey, and that should do it. Once you've got your samples, just separate them so you know which one is which. And then all you need is a bit of water. I've got my 3 soil samples here. The first one, which was taken from around the cactus bed, is very light, airy, and a bit gutless. It's got a lot of sand in it. And the thing about sand is it's a larger soil particle. So these soils drain very freely. And the problem is they leach a lot of water and nutrient. Now, to do your soil texture test, sometimes called the ball and ribbon test, moisten it with a bit of water. And then try and roll it into a ball. It's not rolling into a ball, it's just crumbling through my fingers. And in fact, it doesn't want to take the moisture up, which is typical of sand. That is definitely a sandy soil. The one over here, well, this was taken from around the pond. And it's quite moist. It's very heavy. It's got a lot of clay in it, and clay is the smaller of the soil particles, so it has a tendency to bond together. Soils like this don't drain freely, and that's a problem for plant growth because there's not enough air for the roots to get water and therefore nutrient out of the soil, and plant roots can tend to rot. Well, this requires no moisture. I can just roll that easily into a ball and then roll it into a ribbon, hence the name ball and ribbon test. Now, once you get it into that ribbon, if you bend the ribbon and it doesn't crack, then that means you've got a high clay content, which this one certainly does. The third one here, well, that was taken from the flower bed. Soils like this are almost perfect for plant growth. They're light, so they're filled with air, they drain well, but they're also heavy enough to hold on to good amounts of water and nutrients. I'll just add a little bit of moisture. And that rolls quite easily into a ball. And then, when I flatten it out into a sausage or ribbon, and I bend it, it breaks apart. So this has got a good ratio of sand, silt, clay, and organic matter. So this soil we refer to as a loam. Most gardens will have something in between sand and clay, with loam being in the middle. But what can you do if you have a heavy clay or a very sandy soil? Well, you could just embrace it and choose plants that are happy growing in these soils. Things like local natives that have evolved to suit the conditions in your backyard. If you do want to improve your soil, then the good news is the solution's the same, whether or not you've got heavy clay or gutless sand. And that is with the addition of well-composted organic material. For a sandy soil, it gets in between the sand particles and binds them together. And in a clay soil, it gets in between the tiny clay particles and keeps them apart, allowing air in there and therefore good drainage. So get out there and be a soil sleuth and do a simple soil test this weekend.